Hey guys, and welcome to Piano Shack with me, Woody. Today I thought we'd do some viewer mail.
Come on, baby.
Okay, so the first one is from Federico. And by the way, thank you, Federico, for the email. Thank you to everybody who sent me emails on Facebook or to woodypianoshack@gmail.com. I read them all. I very much enjoy reading them. And it's fun to try and answer your questions as well. And I hope that you enjoy the video. Okay, back to Federico's question. He says, the audio quality of this video is amazing. And he's referring to the video where I played the D50, some of the presets. Okay. Could you please tell me how to get the sound of your Roland D50 directly to the camera, please? Thank you. Right, so how I recorded this and how I record most of my videos is to connect the output of the synthesizer into this, which is a Zoom H4n is the model number. It's a 4-channel recorder, but I use just 2 tracks. And of course, you've got to be very careful to set the gains correctly. You don't want to clip the inputs of the Zoom, so be very careful to set the levels correctly on the synth and on here so you get a good quality recording. After doing that, I take the WAV file and upload it into the computer, where I just edit it a little bit in Reaper, which is my workstation. I don't do very much to it, to be honest. I don't add any extra effects. The only thing I do is just boost up the volume a bit to get a good strong volume, and I have a peak limiter plugin that just prevents it from distorting if it goes over the threshold there. But that's pretty much about it. Then I take the audio, merge it with the video in my video editor and upload to YouTube. So that's pretty much it. No trickery or anything going on there. Just be careful throughout the signal chain not to overload any of the meters. Okay, one other thing actually I need to tell you about. A lot of videos on YouTube, you can hear, if the microphone on the person doing the demo is enabled, you hear a lot of this kind of sound. Okay, and I hate that. That tends to actually drown out the sound from the synthesizer. So I also go through and edit the WAV file for my microphone and just drop the volume if I'm playing the keyboard so you can only hear the sound of the synthesizer. I think that makes a big difference. It's a lot of work, but I think it's worth it. Okay. Federica, I hope that answered the question. Okay, the next one then is from, let's see. I don't have the name of this one. I'll have to add it in as a little subtitle on in the bottom there. It's from Switzerland, I know that much. And he says, hi Woody, a pleasure to watch your videos every week. You just gave me the pleasure to play and spend time on my synth again. Well, that's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. I have a question for you. I saw in your last video, the All Access, that you have quite a bunch of wonderful machines. Just one is especially attracting my attention, your PSR S970. Now that one is my Arranger keyboard, you know, the one with all the built-in accompaniment styles. You seem to have quite a lot of fun playing on this Arranger keyboard. Why have you chosen that particular Arranger? Have you considered a Mox F with tons of arpeggios or any other ones? I have quite a lot of gear, only synths, but never owned an Arranger ever. And I got to say, frankly, your experience makes me considering completing my gear with an Arranger now. Would be very happy to hear your feedback about it. Thank you for your excellent work. Kind regards from Switzerland, and I'm sorry I didn't include your name. I pasted this into a Word document, so I don't see what you are, but we'll put it in on the bottom there. Thank you for the question. Okay, so I have a Yamaha Arranger keyboard. For me, I think Yamaha are the king of the heap, without a doubt. All of the Yamaha PSR models are descended from the Tyros, which is Yamaha's flagship workstation. That is a magnificent machine, it really is. And I know that Korg do Arrangers, I know that Roland do Arrangers, and there might be some other lesser known brands as well, but I've never owned one, but I've played a few in a music store, listened to lots of YouTube videos, and for me, the sounds are good, but the accompaniment doesn't come close to the Yamaha. The Yamaha sounds more realistic, more swinging, just more realistic and natural, I think. So that's why I chose Yamaha. But actually any model would have done. I was looking for a used one so I could get a good deal on it. But I ended up with the 970, that's right. But I would have been happy with the 950, which is a previous model, or the 910, or the 770, which is a slightly more budget version. Any of those actually. But it's just that the 970 came up first, and I bought it, and I was lucky that it was the latest version. But there you go. I've tried the Motif XF, which is the higher end version of the Mox F, and yeah, it's got arpeggios and you can get some grooves going that you can change chords and play along with. That's quite nice, but it doesn't come close to the experience of playing the Arranger. With the Arranger you get, of course, 3 different intros, 3 different outros, 4 different variations. You can adjust the balance of all the instruments that are playing, and it's got a much more sophisticated chord recognition engine. So yeah, the Motifs are good fun, but if you really want an Arranger, then go for a proper Arranger keyboard. One final point then, and this is quite interesting, I think. Now, if I'm playing my electro, doing some Hammond organ stuff, or playing on my Nord lead, doing some synthy stuff, or on the computer doing some soft synths, then I notice my family often comes and closes the door or asks me to turn the volume down a bit, which is a bit of a pity, but I understand at the same time. But when I got my Arranger keyboard, brought it home and powered it on in the living room, it's got the built-in speakers, that's another great feature of Arranger keyboards. I started playing some disco beat, Euro, EDM thing, and they loved it. Nobody asked me to turn down the volume. My kid and his friends were dancing around. My girlfriend, who is a teacher, wanted me to record it so she could take it to her class and play it for her students. So what I'm getting at, I think, here is that I find these Arranger keyboards to be a real crowd pleaser, I guess you could say. That's a good word, a crowd pleaser for the general public. People love it. If you kick off an arrangement and start jamming away with it, then people really get into it, which doesn't happen with my synthesizer. So that's something to think of as well. If you're a one-man band performer or something, then I think you'll find the Arranger keyboards do a better job than synthesizers. Okay, there we go. It's a bit of a shame that a lot of pure synth players turn their noses up a little bit at the Arranger keyboards. They do sound great and have got all these added accompaniments. So go check one out. Okay, I've been waffling here. Okay, the next question is from Hauke, Hauke. Excuse me. Okay. He says, I really enjoy your channel and the way you talk about your gear. Well, thank you, Hauke. What about recording your lovely song Sawyers with your real DX7 for comparison? Then one would have a version with DexEd and one with the DX7. I personally think DexEd is a nice plugin, but a real DX7 still sounds a lot better. See you later, Hauke. And I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name there, Hauke. So, yeah, DexEd, by the way, is a soft synthesizer, an emulation of the Yamaha DX7, and I did a song which I called Sawyers using this DexEd plugin. So I have the MIDI files, I could re-record it using the DX7, but there's a couple of problems and reasons why I don't want to do that. The first thing is that I used a lot of presets from just some random sound banks that I downloaded from the internet. And that's quite easy to do on DexEd. You just load them in, choose one and play. But on the DX7, it's a lot more hassle to transfer the sounds. Excuse me. And plus, I don't even know which sounds I used anymore. So it's going to take me a long time to match up the sounds from these tens of thousands of presets that are available online. So that's not going to work, I'm afraid. Plus, DexEd has a filter, which I automated a lot to get some quite nice filter sweep builds up and stuff. The real Yamaha DX7 doesn't have that. Plus, in general, I think it's far too much effort to record things with hardware. You've got to connect all the MIDI cables, play the MIDI into the synthesizer as you're capturing the output, and you don't have any possibility to edit the tracks really after doing that. So it's a lot more work than I'm prepared to put in. But it was an interesting idea, and thank you for the suggestion. And finally, I think nobody would really notice the difference anyway. It sounds so close, but by the time I put it in the mix with the reverb, the delay, chorus and stuff, you're not going to hear the difference. I'm pretty sure about that. Okay, a next question here from L Songs. Thank you for the question. He says, enjoy your videos. This is a fun question. He says, one curious question. Why is it called Woody Piano Shack and not Woody's Piano Shack? Yeah, thank you for the question. And you're right, Woody's Piano Shack is more grammatically correct since I'm Woody. Let me talk a bit about how I chose the channel name. It was kind of hard and I didn't put a lot of effort into it, to be honest. I tried Synth Shack because that wasn't taken, but it's just too difficult to pronounce. I'd be fumbling that when I said, hey, welcome to Synth Shack. There's no way I'd get it right. So I thought Piano Shack, the Piano Shack, but that was already taken. There is or was another YouTube channel called The Piano Shack. It's actually quite good. Go check it out. A very talented guy, much more talented than me, who's singing and playing piano and stuff. But I think he's since changed the channel name after I launched Woody Piano Shack. I didn't mean to tread on his toes, but there you go. Piano Shack, I just thought it sounded good. And Woody, well, that comes from my surname, Woodham. So yeah, I was called a little bit Woody in school and I just thought it sounded more catchy. So Woody Piano Shack. And originally it should have been Woody's with the apostrophe S, but when I designed the logo, it looked a bit shit with the font I was using. That Woody apostrophe S didn't look very good, so I changed it to Woody Piano Shack. And I like the fact that it's grammatically incorrect. It gives it a little bit of an edge, I think. I'm not sure what you guys think. And I say it all wrong when I introduce my videos. I say welcome to Piano Shack, which doesn't make a lot of sense either. But there you go. I actually think my piano, my channel name, is rather shit. I wish I'd chosen something a bit more contemporary, modern. It sounds goofy, but there you go. It is what it is. Okay, interesting question. Thank you for that. Who did that one come from, by the way? L Songs. Okay, let's press on. I've got a couple more to go. So this one is from Zachary then. He says, hey Woody, hope you're having a great weekend. I just watched your demos of the Jupiter 8 and Juno 106 plug-out synths. They sound fantastic. I do hope Roland allows us to purchase these plug-outs as native VST instruments. I was thinking though about the Juno in particular. There has already been a well-loved Juno clone VST on the market for years from Tal Audio. Would you be able to demonstrate these two synths for your viewers? I'm interested in the differences. Keep up the good work. Okay, thank you, Zachary. And yes, I know about this plugin. It's called Tal Uno LX, I think, Tal Uno LX, and there's even a free version. The older version of the plugin is now freeware. It's called Uno 62, I think, so go check that out. And I really like it. I've played around with the demo version a bit, and I totally agree that we should definitely cover this on the channel. And in fact, I've been in touch with Patrick from Tal, and he's agreed to give me like a review license so we can really dig into it and show some of the features. But I'm probably not going to do a comparison with the Roland Juno 106, because then I'd have to learn both plugins in a lot of in-depth, and I don't really have the urge to do that at the moment. I'd like to just play them anyway. I'd like to do some performances, and then you can let your ears be the judge. Another thing I'll mention, just for fun, you might not know this, but I'm quite an authority on the Roland Juno 6 synthesizers, because my family bought one back in 1982 and I learned to play on the Juno 6 synthesizer. I learned a lot about synthesis and did gigs with it, all sorts, and we still own it actually. We have in my family a Juno 6 that we bought new in 1982, and how awesome is that? And we're going to have to feature it on the channel sometime, because I do believe this is probably the nicest Juno 6 you've ever seen. It hasn't actually been used for the last 25 years, I'm guessing. So we definitely need to do that. And I've owned a Juno 60 after that and a Juno 106. So looking forward to demonstrating the Tal plugin for you. Okay guys, we've reached the final question. Thank you again to everybody who submitted questions. You can do it on Facebook, you can do it via email. It's woodypianoshack@gmail.com. Okay, so the final question here then. 2 questions for the price of 1. This is from Ian, and I'm curious to know if Ian is in Sweden, like me, or if he's not. Could be a Swedish name, I'm not sure. He says, anyway, he asks, so how did Woody end up in Sweden? Plus, how good is your Swedish now? Okay, let's take the first question then. How did Woody end up in Sweden? Well, I came to Sweden in 96, around there somewhere, 97. And of all the English people I met back then, there were 2 reasons why anybody would come and live in Sweden. It's not the weather, I can tell you that. This is spring now. We're in the middle of March and it's been snowing. It's freezing out there. It's horrible. No, it is, of course, either a woman. That was a very common reason. Guys meeting women in pubs back in the UK and then coming over here to live with them. And the other reason at the time was Ericsson. You remember Ericsson? They made the mobile phones. The mobile phone handsets, they're still around, but at that time, a lot of UK guys were coming over here to work for Ericsson. Now, in my case, it was the first one. It was a Swedish girl I met in the pub on a random night out in the UK, and that kind of, just that coincidence changed the whole course of my life, and here I am now. And the funny thing is, of course, oh, not of course, the strange thing is that nowadays, I work for Ericsson, kind of. It's one of the spin-off companies of Ericsson. So yeah, I check both boxes there, which is a little bit strange, but there you go. Okay, the second part of your question. Plus, how good is your Swedish now? Ian wants to know. Well, it's hard to say. I understand everything and I speak pretty good, but with a terrible, terrible accent. So here's what we're going to do. This is the last mail. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Actually, let's do this in Swedish. I'll close out the video in Swedish. Tack så mycket alla som tittade. Det var härligt att ha ni här. Kom ihåg att like, prenumerera, subscriba till min kanal. Jag uppskattar det jättemycket. Och vi ses nästa gång. Hej då!
Woody Piano Shack.